Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to today's top-rated seller webinar. Today's webinar is part of a monthly series of webinars specifically geared to eBay sellers and brought to you at no cost by our wonderful sponsors. And our sponsors are Billboards by PageMage. Make your eBay listings stand out to sell out. Brand your listings, advertise special offers, cross-sell items, and more across all your listings. Billboards is one of the top 10 most popular applications in the eBay App Center, and it's completely free. I love that word. Stamps.com is a sponsor. If you're selling online through multiple sales channels, shipping can be a headache, but not with Stamps.com. Stamps.com consolidates all of your orders so you can ship them out with ease. With one click, you can directly import all of your order data from the most popular online marketplaces, including eBay, Amazon, PayPal, and Etsy, plus the most popular shopping cart software. We have another sponsor, Outright.com. Outright is awesome for putting your accounting on autopilot. And Terapeak is our sponsor. You should always Terapeak because Terapeak sellers make more money. And eBay Radio, one of our great sponsors where you've got the grift. Be sure and check out eBay Radio on the community section of the eBay site and listen in every Tuesday and Thursday. Thank you all for being here today. We really appreciate your time. Our next webinar that's coming up is going to be put on by one of our sponsors, Make More Money with Research, presented by the team at Terapeak. July 25th, 2012 is our tentative date. Watch our newsletter for more details. Have you signed up for the newsletter? Make sure you have. TopRatedSellerWebinars.com is the way to go. That way you'll know exactly when the next webinar is and when it's coming. More content coming to you soon through that newsletter. We would love to encourage you to stay connected with Top Rated Seller Webinars, and remember these are webinars for all eBay sellers. You can stay connected with us on 3 ways in 3 different places. First of all, we have a blog at TopRatedSellerWebinars.com. Great place to see what the upcoming webinars are and let us know what webinars you'd like to see. We also have a newsletter that goes out a couple times a month to remind you about the upcoming webinars, and we're going to be working on getting some great content from our webinar creators into that newsletter, so be sure you've signed up for that. And the way to sign up for that is back on the blog at TopRatedSellerWebinars.com. We've also started a wonderful Facebook group, and we are looking for ways to make it easier for you to access. But if you'll just do a search on Facebook for Top Rated Seller Webinars, request to join. We try not to add anyone without their permission, so we wait for you to ask. So find us on Facebook in our Facebook group, request to add, and we'll get you added and into the conversation right away. We'll see you on Facebook. We are so happy that you are here today. We have a little housekeeping to talk about. First question, everybody always has 2 questions about a webinar that I get onto. Number 1, is it being recorded? Yes, actually it's being recorded about 5 ways. So we'll get these recordings put together into a wonderful best recording we can come up with and get that up onto our YouTube channel. We'll send that out to you in our newsletter. So again, the newsletter is the key to staying in touch. Second most common question, how long will this news webinar last? Well, we're doing our best to hold the webinar itself to 45 minutes. How long we stay after for your Q&A is up to you, but we'll be done in about 45 minutes. The next question we get most commonly is, are the slides going to be available? Absolutely yes. Chris and I designed these slides, and Chris is going to put them into a wonderful PDF that you'll be able to download straight from our blog and our website. If you're having audio problems, GoToWebinar offers 2 ways for you to hear the audio. One is to sign on with your computer and listen with your microphone and headset from your computer. If you're having trouble with that, the best way to solve that issue is simply to put your computer on hold, pick up that phone, and dial in. Over on the side, you'll see the phone number and the audio pin to use. If you're on the phone and you're having trouble, our best advice, the high-tech way to do this, is just to hang up and try again. Get a new line and get that sound working. Okay, we're all done with housekeeping. We're ready to move on. Our connectors. The connectors and the hostesses for these webinars are Kat Simpson of thatcat.com and Karen Locker of solutionsforecommerce.com. Check them out. and the agenda. We went over the housekeeping. Here's what we're going to discuss in this webinar. This is the outline. Stay with us to the end, 45 minutes, and believe me, it's worth your time. Number one, we're going to talk about what is a brand, and you may be surprised at some of these answers here. Then we're going to talk about why is having a brand important and how do you develop your brand. Real basic stuff, some really how-to steps that you can act on today to improve your sales on eBay. Stay with us. My name is Kat Simpson, and I'm one of the hostesses for the webinar series. I've been an eBay education specialist. I've been on e-commerce for 10 years, and I host a popular e-commerce podcast called FBA Radio on Mondays and Fridays. I have stores on eBay, Amazon, and a few other places around the web. Our other presenter is Chris Taylor, and you know Chris as the Vice President of Marketing at PageMage. He's been in Sales and Marketing Pro for years, and he wouldn't let me tell you the number, guys. He's a former board of the American Marketing Association Silicon Valley chapter, so Chris has known marketing for a long time. PageMage was the 2011 eBay Ecosystem Champion Award winner, and Chris has also on his own time set up and organized the San Francisco Bay Area eBay Sellers Meetup Group. Chris is not only a seller on eBay, but he helps other sellers. You're going to get a lot out of today's presentation, I guarantee it. And Chris, I believe this one is where we get started. So we wanted some input from the audience on this one. What is a brand? Type your answers in the question box. We would love to know what you think a brand is before we get started. What is a brand? And oh my, we got somebody in the chat room that just loves the Billboards app. Okay, so tell us what you think. Why is the Billboards app so awesome? What is a brand? Is a brand, oh great, Charlene from Charlene says it is an identifiable person or product, Chris. Dell says it's a one of a kind. Grace says it's a logo. Interesting. Darcy says a brand is an identifier. Oh, very good answer. Cheryl Patterson says anything that people associate with you. I love that answer. And another good one from Jen, something that will stand out. Robin Levine, awesome. The thing that makes you stand out with your business name. Jocelyn, Steve, wow, they keep coming. What do you think, Chris? Are they getting the idea? What is a brand?
Yeah, absolutely. And an extra credit question here is, who can tell me what company this logo is from? You get extra points.
That they were doing that before you even asked, Chris. Let's see. Everybody's right. We've got Charlene, Michelle, Nikki, Dell, Jen, Darcy, on and on and on. Levin. Thank you, Robin.
So great answers from everybody. And to a certain extent, you're all right. All of those answers are a part of what a brand is. But what I'm going to do, instead of sitting here, and I'm a marketing guy, normally spew lots of marketing speak and lots of words, what I want to do is a little bit of an exercise or kind of a role play with everyone to give you a sense of really what a brand is. So what I want you to imagine is just a few minutes after our webinar started, after Kat started talking, there is an exciting new announcement from Apple, a new device, new product that Apple announced. But because we're all diligently paying attention to the webinar, none of us know what the name of it is. We don't know what the description is. We don't know what it looks like, what it does, anything. We don't know anything about it. But Kat has some amazing sway with Apple, and she was able to get one of these new devices for everybody. So imagine to the right of your computer right now, you have this nice little white box from Apple with this unknown product. It's the iSomething. As you start to open up this box and look inside, what are your expectations about this product, about what it's going to do for you, about what your experience is going to be like with this product? What words jump to mind when you think of Apple products?
They are all jumping on this. Charlene, it's cool packaging, no manual, easy to use. John says high quality. Robert says user-friendly, easy to use out of the box. Debbie says reliable. Robin says web connector. Jocelyn says sleek. Oh my goodness, I can't keep up with them. Great design, sleek, cool, innovative, quality, new, clean, performance, etc., etc. Futuristic, expensive. I like that one, expensive.
I'll support that one.
So, Chris, are they getting what their expectations would be from Apple?
Yes, absolutely. Those are spot on. So when you think, most of us think of an Apple product, and you all have great feedback on this, but it's going to be cool. It's going to be simple, easy to use. You don't think of manuals when you think of Apple products. There's going to be an elegance to it. It's going to empower you, let you do something that you can't do today, or do it in a broader, more extensive way than you can do today. Quality. Those are all the characteristics of your expectations. Now, the key is, real simply, that's what a brand is. That's the Apple brand promise to the marketplace, to consumers. When they have a product, this is what your experience is going to be like. And what that does is it differentiates them from other companies that they're competing against. And obviously, as some of you said, and I will attest to, it lets them charge more for their products. Now, if you think, Google announced a tablet yesterday. To be honest, I've been so busy I haven't read anything about it. But even if you love Google and think, and Google's awesome, they do a lot of amazing things. But as you think about this tablet sight unseen, you're not going to have exactly the same set of words or expectations with that. It's going to be a little bit different. So your brand promise differentiates you. It sets you up as being unique. And it's really the core of what your brand is. So let me ask then, as eBay sellers, what is your brand promise? And it doesn't necessarily have to be yours. It can be what you think it might be or what it is for another seller. But what are some brand promises as eBay sellers? What do we communicate out about the expectations and the experience if somebody buys from us?
Oh, they like this too. Lots of comments. I'm just going to read the comments. Thank you all. Charlene, knowledge, latest tools, customer service. Cheryl also says customer service. Honest, reliable from Darcy. Stephen, quality products. Robert, fast, accurate shipping, quality. Jocelyn, again, customer service. Fast shipping, excellent service from Steve and Stephen. John, high quality packaging. I love that. Another customer service. Quality, best deal, top rated service. I like that. Very good descriptions, variety, opportunity. And then, really interesting, Robert says TRS. Interesting. Top rated seller.
Great. So those are fantastic. And I've got already captured some of those here. The one thing I want to say up front, though, is I was out at eBay on location, and Kat, you were there, and the buyer panel that I watched was tremendous. There's one gentleman on the panel who bought roughly 1,000 products a month, I believe all from eBay sellers, so big purchaser. But a comment he made was that I look at sellers not as product providers, but as service providers. And this is somebody that I'm sure pricing is important. There are a lot of aspects of the products that are important, but he looked at relationships and the service that he got. So that's a really core element. And what that means to me is that essentially our eBay businesses, we're not just selling products, but we're selling our business. We're selling, in many cases, ourselves as a part of that brand promise. And it's the brand that lets us present that and communicate that out to the marketplace and to buyers we're trying to attract. So you all got all these things here: credibility, trust, professionalism. Those are all elements of a brand promise as a seller. And research has shown that these will increase the likelihood that a buyer will purchase from you. The customer-oriented, customer satisfaction, I think that's an important one. The thing I think here that's important is don't just make it be a bunch of words. There's got to be some substance behind it to make somebody believe you. Because you know how many other sellers say, oh, we're all about customer satisfaction. The customer comes first. Then their policies are, 7-day return policy, and they're real onerous, and don't return, and you pay. Like, okay, fine, but if you're really about customer satisfaction, the way you communicate that, it really needs to have substance in it. Somebody mentioned expertise in the category. I think another big one that's important in the eBay arena as eBay sellers is a brand can make you look much bigger than you are, and in some cases you want to do that, and that's great. That'll help your business. In some other cases, though, you don't really want to look that way. Your brand promise might be that you're a small company, more personable. Here are the people that you're dealing with. You're going to get better customer satisfaction and caring. You're important to us, and that may be a stronger brand promise and we're this big company. It all depends, and important to these brand promises, all our businesses are different, so it depends on what is important to us, what is important to the sellers or the buyers that we're trying to sell to. So the next question is, okay, that's what a brand is. Hopefully you understand that. It's a promise. It's an expectation of service that a buyer receives from us. How does that get communicated? How does a buyer know what the heck our brand is and what our brand promise is? Well, simply, if you look in the Apple world, when you use the products, that's a part of building this perception. You use it, and it's easy, it's cool, it shapes what the brand is in your mind. But it's everything. It's a concept of what we call touch points. The touch point is just real simple. Everything that's associated with your brand, your product, your service, everything that's associated with it that can be seen, touched, felt, heard, tasted by the outside world is a part of shaping your brand in the minds of the marketplace and the target market you're trying to sell to. So it's not just the products, it's the commercials. Apple's commercials, I think, have been pretty cool. That helps reinforce the sense of their products are cool. You go into an Apple store, your experience with a salesperson there, if you go to the Genius Bar, it's all part of building a perception of Apple and their brand promise in your mind, all the way through watching Steve Jobs in the past or current executives present their stock price. It's all of those are touch points, and they all build this perception in your mind. So this is Apple, consumer company. As eBay sellers, what are our touch points? How do buyers see our business and get a sense of what our business is all about and what our brand promise is about?
That is the question, because I love the way you put this slide together. There's so many places that people see Apple. They see it in the commercials I was talking about on television. They see it on the web. They see it at the Apple stores. So where are you touching your customers as an eBay seller? Now, I'm guessing most of the people, the hundreds or so of people that are in here, the hundreds of people are not making eBay ads or TV ads. You think, Chris? That's a pretty safe assumption, huh?
Probably not.
Okay, so if you're not doing a television ad like Apple, where are you touching your customers? Robert, great. Facebook. Charlene reminds us the look of the auction, the ordering process we use in our listings, our photo quality, our handling time. Darcy says handwritten thank you notes on invoices. That's definitely a touch point. Picture, item description, a sign on my card. Jen, excellent touch point.
Nice.
Business cards. Debbie, great. The wording, Charlene, excellent. Nikki Smith, all of our listings. Robin Levin says Pinterest, great. Dell also Pinterest. Consistent listing format, says Robert. Very interesting. So those are all places that we as eBay sellers touch our customers. And I think Chris has got a few more for you guys to think about.
Yeah, so again, remember the key word is everything. And so you got many of these. If you Twitter, Facebook, if you have a blog, if you have a .com website, business cards, if you have employees, they talk to people. All of those are touch points. All of those are a part of communicating and building the perception of your brand in the mind of the marketplace, and especially who you're trying to sell to. As we come through the marketplaces that you sell on, and we'll talk about eBay now, those have their own set of touch points where your brand will be conveyed and presented. So with eBay, again, you all got many of these. If you respond to queries about products you're selling, that's a touch point. If you have an About Me page, that's a touch point. If you have an eBay store, your storefront, that's a touch point. And some of you mentioned packaging. I mean, even something as simple as the label on a box that you send, if it's handwritten versus printed, that's a touch point, and it makes a difference in the perception of the person receiving that. Something great from our group, my meetup group, Nancy Nelson, she said she's an education specialist, and she says the feedback profile. A lot of sellers forget that the feedback you leave for others, especially for buyers, can be seen. So a buyer may look at your feedback profile and go, oh man, okay. And that maybe it's a positive or maybe it's a negative. Now, how
Mm-hmm.
many are going to look at that? Probably not many, but some. And it's all about every touch point trying to help it all build together to make you as successful as possible and show and communicate what your brand and your brand promise is. So we could go on and on here, but this gives you a sense. There are a lot, and you really need to look at all of them as a part of building your brand.
Well
So
said.
real fast here, kind of in summary, the brand is, and hopefully the little Apple exercise helped you understand, but it's your promise. What is the promise that you make to buyers who are going to buy from you, potentially buy from you? It's everything. Differentiates you. The key is, well, why should somebody buy from me? That's what we all need to keep asking ourselves. And then put yourself in the buyer's shoes. Look from the buyer's perspectives. What do you think is important to them? What brand promises will resonate with them and connect with them and help them be more inclined to purchase from you? Those are all the things that a brand is.
Excellent. So we've talked about, what is a brand, and we've shown you how a brand affects people and how they can find the brand from all the touch points. Let's talk about, is a brand important? Now, this is actually a controversial subject in the e-commerce world because we're talking about eBay. We're talking to eBay sellers. So is your brand important on eBay? Well, let's talk about why it might be important. Number one, Chris, what in the world? 239 million results for wedding dress. And why were you looking for wedding dress? This is pretty amazing. The competition out there for every word is huge. Look at wedding dress just on eBay, 5,400 plus results. Wedding dress on Google, 239 million results. So the competition is huge. Yes, your brand is important. You've got to find a way to stand out. Correct, Chris?
Absolutely.
Do you really want buyers to notice you? Would you just as soon be down in the back of the pack and nobody know who you are? Do you want your buyers to trust you? I mean, we've been saying for years that trust is what you've really got to build to get them to part with that money. Do you want your buyers to buy from you? Do you want your buyers to come back and maybe even refer others to you? These are some of the things that a brand does. It helps your buyers notice you. It helps your buyers trust you. And it will help them buy from you because they trust you and notice you, and also help them come back and refer others to you.
Yeah, and Kat, on this, there's all sorts of stats you'll see on this. And obviously it depends on the type of eBay business you have and the type of products you're selling. But general terms, it's a lot less expensive to sell more product to existing customers than it is to get a new customer. Well, whatever the multiple is, you hear all sorts of ranges, depends on the business, but
It's
it
always
just
more
makes sense.
expensive. It's always more expensive to get a new customer. They're asking in the chat room about my purple duct tape, Karen's pointing out. Yes, that is one of my brands, purple all the way. So when people get a package and it's got purple duct tape on it, they know it's from me. So there's
That's
lots of
great.
ways to do a brand. The sales pipeline. People say, okay, all this branding is nice and all that, but let's talk about dollars. Is it going to bring me money? Absolutely yes. The sales pipeline, and Chris, you're the expert on this, but walk us through the touch pads and show us how the sales pipeline works.
Well, real simply, some people call it a sales funnel or a sales pipeline. There's a series of steps that a potential buyer or shopper will go through before they actually part with their dollars and give you their money.
Mm-hmm.
And at each point, and these are all touch points, at each touch point, you want to get them to take the next step forward. So if they're doing a search and they see your item in the directory, in the listing results, search results, you want them to look at that and say, well, let me take a look, click.
Mm-hmm.
Then the first contact, if they look at your listing, the description, design, and so on, and you want them to take the next step forward. And this may all start out from Facebook, it may start from your .com website, but you want to keep walking them forward to that ultimate point where you're actually selling to them. And per the last slide that you mentioned, Kat, the brand is an important part, and again, it varies based on your business and so on.
Right.
It'll vary how important the brand is or isn't, but at some level, it's important, in a lot of cases, a lot more important, to continue to drive that shopper forward until they actually purchase from you. And then the brand is a part of repeat sale. You know, the customer experience, if it's been a professional transaction, the look and feel of your business, they come back, and you're memorable. They remember you, all the way through what we call brand advocates. They buy from you, and then they refer you to other people who are looking for similar type items. So you get dollars there too. So all the way through this sales pipeline or sales funnel, the idea is to get dollars, and the brand is an important part of driving that shopper forward.
Absolutely. Branding may be a fun for some people who are creative, but it's also a dollars and cents issue. It makes difference in your dollars. One of the things that I hear most often from eBay buyers is that they buy something from someone and they have a great experience, and so they want to go back and find that seller again. They say, I can't find them. So you definitely want a brand that sticks in their head so they can remember how to find you. Don't make your buyers work to give you money. Make it very, very easy for them to give you money. Always. Get them in that sales pipeline, encourage that contact, that interaction, and get that money flowing. And it's always easier to keep them than to go out and get new ones. Remember that.
Right. Right. I know you may... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So some of you may feel like my brand's great, and that's wonderful, or I really need to develop it. I don't feel like I have much of a brand right now. So how many of you have been audited by the IRS?
Ouch.
No, don't answer that question.
Don't answer that.
I have a friend who was recently, and it's not a pleasant experience. But a brand audit is actually something that is a lot of fun. And whether you think you have a fantastic brand now or not, a brand audit is something good to do, and it's real simple. All you want to do is the touch point map we had a few seconds ago, you want to print out all of your touch points. So you print out the homepage of your website if you've got one. You print out your Facebook page. You print out your blogs, the page of your blog. You print out Pinterest boards. In the eBay marketplace, your About Me, and so on. You get the idea. You want to print out everything, and if you work in commercial offices, lay it out on a conference table or at home on a dining room table if your eBay business is out of your home. You're going to lay it out, and you're going to ask some questions, and not just of yourself, because we're all unknowingly we're going to have biases. Mm-hmm. We also want to get at least one customer that we can ask these questions. If we have other workers in our business, a colleague, we want to get at least one other person that works with our business. Another seller that we respect, they think they might have a good brand, they're good at selling, they're experienced, get them to help you with this also. If they're remote, then you can lay it on the table for people that can be in one place, or you can put it in something like a PowerPoint presentation, do screen caps. But the point is, you want to see everything all together. And then again, you ask the questions. Who are your target buyers? Important starting point to keep them in mind. Are they older? Are they younger? Are they male, female? What kind of interests do they have? As much as you can define that, that will help you in terms of how you look at the rest of this. From looking at all these materials, can you tell what your brand promise or promises are? What is it? Is there something that comes across, or is there not? You want to ask yourself, certainly, do I look professional? Do I look credible? Real importantly, is it consistent? So if somebody looks at my Facebook page and they look at my .com website and they look at my eBay storefront and a listing, can they kind of generally get a sense that this is all from the same company?
Right.
Really, really, really important. This is your starting point. Again, you may go through this exercise and go, I'm good to go, I'm rock and rolling this great. Or you may go, holy cow, wow, I didn't realize my Facebook is so different, and it's not consistent. So that's the starting point, is your brand audit. Then from this, the question is, what do you want it to be? Mm-hmm.
You hit exactly what Charlene was saying in the chat room also, that the consistency is the key. And that's, can they find you? Nikki asked, how do I get them to find me? Well, one way for them to find you is if you are consistent across the web. And I challenge anybody in the audience listening to print out everything like Chris had said. And I'm talking about print out your packing slip. Print out your eBay newsletter, print out your off eBay newsletter, and put those all into a slideshow and see, are they truly consistent? And if anybody really wants to do that, I would love to see you put your PowerPoints together with all of your different branding and put that up on the Facebook page. I'm sure that people from the audience here, or some of the presenters, Chris and I, Karen, would be happy to help you step through that and say, well, here's the feeling I get from this branding presentation. I think you're fun and easy to get along with, but it doesn't look real professional. Or this looks really, really professional, but it's a little bit harsh. So if you want to go through this, I'm happy to extend our willingness to help if you want to do that, if you don't have somebody locally to help you. I love, Chris, the idea of spreading it out and just not saying anything, asking people to come look at this and say, what feeling do you get from all of these images? I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I've actually done this for a couple of very prominent eBay experts who sell a lot, and it's surprising that consistency probably being the biggest issue. So it's a good exercise. It's a really, really good exercise. And companies of all sizes do this.
Absolutely. And Chris, coming from larger companies that he's worked with, is really bringing this home to our small solopreneur audience, because this is what the big guys do. And now Chris is teaching us how to do it for our businesses. So be grateful. What do you want it to be? That's the key message. You've got to come up with 3 key statements. Now, when we say you need an elevator pitch or you need a 2-minute speech about your business, remember, I'm talking about the elevator trip between the 1st and 2nd floor. Okay. Not the elevator trip at the Flamingo in Las Vegas between the 1st and the 40th floor, all right? We want a short elevator speech. We want 3 quick statements. What do you do? What are the benefits? Who's it for? And why should I care? Those are the things you want to cover. Your voice and your tone make a difference. We could play all those little exercises. Those are kind of fun, Chris, where you say the same sentence in 5 different inflections and, do it that way. But that's how you portray your brand and the voice and tone are real important. You've got to understand where you want to be to begin with. And the other thing is, how are you different than other sellers? One of my mentors, Janelle Elms, I love it when she asks the rock stars to come up with a brand statement, Chris. And then if we throw out something too generic, her comment is, so what? I just love that. Oh, I have the best customer service everywhere. So what? Everybody else does too. So you've got to come out with something that shows you're different. If you come out with a statement about your business and some irritating, snarky person like me can say, so what? Then it's not differentiated enough. It's not different enough. Come up with something a little better. Chris coined this term, and I'm really not sure if it's in Wikipedia yet, but I like it, so we're going to use it. Glancers. We live in a society of glancers. The most common complaint of eBay sellers is the buyers don't read. Well, guess what? The sellers don't read either. When was the last time you read the entire terms of service on eBay? Okay, let's be real. So people are not going to read everything that you write. They're going to glance and they're going to pick out the highlights. So it's got to be basic stuff. It's got to be not marketing speak, down to earth. And there again is my favorite, so what? It can't be something that you can say and snarky me can come by and say, so what? Okay, also it's got to be credible. If you tell them that if you buy my system on eBay, you are going to make $1 million in 6 months with 5 hours a week of work, that's not credible, okay? If you tell them, if you buy this blue dress I'm selling, you're going to have 5 dates for Friday night, that's not credible, all right? So it's got to be something credible about your brand. Be real. Be who you are.
Absolutely. And naming, once you have that brand promise, what your business is all about, the name, and I have 2 eBay accounts. I'm rebranding one of them right now, so I'm going through this process, and it's tough. And I have Fireworks. The reality on naming, and I've renamed a public company before, is it's tough to come out with a name that fireworks go off and people remember you forever. My favorite business name is the Snowed Inn, INN. It's a bed and breakfast in Utah in the mountains. It's wonderful. That's a fireworks name.
Yeah.
Reality is that's tough. So my kind of mantra is a good fireworks name is good, but a neutral name is good also. A negative name is bad. And what that means is if you can't say it, if it's difficult to spell or remember, it's not unique, it's not relevant to what you're selling, then that's a negative name, and you don't want to do that. You also want to think growth. You're selling a certain set of products or categories of products now. Is that what you're going to be doing 6 months from now, a year from now? I mean, Apple Computer is an example of that. There used to be Apple Computer, not Apple Computer anymore. They changed their name because they've expanded so far beyond. And I'm going through the naming process. It is really tough on eBay because I will come up with a great name and go search and find somebody who has been a member on eBay for 10 years, has zero feedback, and has that name. It's frustrating, but you need to put some effort into it, and ultimately have a name that you feel comfortable with, that you think is good. Mary 2691 is not really a great eBay ID or a good eBay store name. Have a name that you feel comfortable. Look at this for the long run.
And I love your statement about make sure it's not a negative name. Karen and I were remembering that we had seen an Amazon seller that recently went around a couple of groups, and his user ID on Amazon was "Don't buy from the great big sellers." Like, really? Okay, your personality. You get to choose this. Guess what? Sometimes people think they're born with their personality, but you get to pick your brand personality. What kind of personality is going to connect with your target audience? And here we come back to Chris's earlier topic, is you've got to know who you're selling to. Are you selling to stay-at-home moms who are busy during the day and only have time to get on at night? Are you selling to people that are outside the mainstream and enjoy a little bit of quirky humor out there? Are you selling to very, very staid professional people who just want to get in, get it, and get out? Who are you selling to? That will help you come up with your brand personality. You can find a couple of words. That's what my assignment this week is for my business coaches, is to find a couple of words that resonate with the brand personality you're developing. Are you going to be smart, fun, funny, professional, hip, natural? All of those things are totally doable and totally workable. They could all be turned into a fantastic, exciting brand, but it's got to be something that you are comfortable with and that connects with your core audience, your ideal customers. And then once you come up with what you want it to be and that personality, that's where it comes time to meld that into everything. I love that word, meld. Meld it into everything. Even your packing slips, right, Chris?
And your policies.
And your
personality should come through everything.
I love the policies. Don't you dare, you better not. I won't allow you. Yeah.
Yes. So tagline. I see very, very few sellers, very few eBay businesses that use a tagline, but it's something that I like very much. And it's just real simple. It's just a few words. It's meant to be memorable, kind of sum up the tone and premise of your brand. Kind of reinforces your buyers in the marketplace's memory of your business. It can help them understand what your business does beyond just what your business name provides. And from the perspective of do everything you can to try and make yourself as successful as possible, and glancers, I think taglines are something that can be very helpful. I've got a few here. I don't need to read them all, but a few that I thought were good, that some various eBay, these are all storefronts, have used taglines with their businesses.
I like this because you can sit down with a pen and paper after you've gone through your brand audit and look what you are. You can write a whole paragraph about what you want your personality to be. From that paragraph, you can pull out your elevator speech, and from that elevator speech, you can pull out your tagline.
Yep.
Where should I place my tagline is the question. Oh, Danny, that's a great question. I would say pretty much everywhere. The header of your store, in your logo. Have some logos with and some without, but just about everywhere. There you go, Chris. Speaking of logos, huh?
Yeah.
What do you want it to be? A logo can be a picture, or it can just be your name. If you look in the examples we've got here, we've got Scarlet Collectibles. That's just her name in a font and a color that gives off her vibe and her personality. You've got others that really like the little bird. I like the little chick, two chicks selling it. And really, the bird is the logo. So if they do a good job branding that, anytime people on eBay see that bird, they're going to think about the two chicks. Okay? So you can use an image. Here's the water, the wave. You can turn that into a lot of different things.
That's a marine company, by the way.
Oh, and if you're looking for a logo, guys, listen, don't overthink this and don't think, oh, I am not creative. You can go to Fiverr, okay? $5. And I'm telling you, there's like 50 people over there right now at this moment eager to send you a logo for $5. With $5 on Fiverr, you could buy 5 logos, $25. Put those 5 up and have your friends and even your competition vote on which one they like best. And then if it's not professional enough, even you pick out the one you like from Fiverr, then you take that to somebody who's a little more artistic and skilled. This is what I like. Can you make it a little bit fancier? Now, I've got some logos off Fiverr that were ready to go right off the box, and they did a great job. But it's a very inexpensive way. Another place to look for logos, eBay and Etsy. Etsy has some fantastic people willing to do logos for eBay sellers. Freelancers, go out there and look around. Don't get caught. This be careful warning here is don't send somebody $5,000 or something for a logo. It's not necessary. Recommendations are always good. Anything else you want to add on people getting a logo created for them, Chris?
No, another thing I recommend is if you know a colleague, another seller, and you really like the branding that they've done, a logo that they've created, ask them, how do they create it? They do it themselves, so they have somebody else do it. Mm-hmm. Find out the source they have, and they can help you do it because they've done a good job of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lots of good options for an ego. Okay, colors. Why does colors matter, Chris? I mean, we're choosing our brand personality. Does color have something to do with our personality?
Yeah, I mean, the colors all have associations with them. They evoke emotions in all of us. And you need to keep that in mind as you're branding. Basically, what you do with a brand is you have what we call a color palette. Mm. It means it's a set of colors associated with one another that set is what's going to be used throughout all your materials. So it might be earthy, it might be pastelish, it might be all different ones. But that set of colors is going to represent your brand. And I just got a quick chart here I got from an article that shows you what some of the associations are with this. So you have to look at your own business, again, your branding, your brand promise, who your target audience is. But these colors are an important part of what you do.
They are, and you can do a lot of online research because I wouldn't pay too much attention to this chart because there's no purple on it.
Let's go to the next slide then.
Oh, definitely. There's all kinds. That is a good chart, and there's all kinds of online stuff to help you see what goes with colors. But the colors in the logo will come from you developing what the personality is. What do you want your eBay store to be? I love this slide that Chris put together because, number one, I know the lady behind Wandering Creek Antiques, and I think she did a great job on her store. But isn't this amazing? A lot of people don't even realize how much you can brand your eBay store. The idea of these slides were, who would you rather buy from? If you were going out and buying a piece of $500 art or a $450 china closet, who would you want to spend your money with? Antique rare art with just a plain, no personality, just basic there, nothing in there? Or would you rather buy from Ambience Home Antiques? They've actually upped their game. They've got some custom pages going on there. They've got a great description of their store. They look a little more professional. Or would you rather go with Wandering Creek Antiques? Now, to me, that just shows that's a real store. Quote, and I'm using the air quotes, real store, because it looks like a website and looks like this person put a lot of time into their store, and I would feel very confident to walk into that eBay store.
Absolutely, and these are all wonderful businesses, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would buy from all of them. They all have good feedback.
Yeah.
But
No, but to your point, Kat, each one is a little more branding, and just having a logo and a little descriptive tagline, it's more professional. It gives you a sense of a more serious business.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're not going to, when we're talking about listing and description design, there's so much information out there. We're not going to do a big spiel in terms of how your information is organized in your description area and so forth. But just it's important, and it's a real key part of your branding also. So if you use a template, if you incorporate some design into that, remember from Glancer's perspective, organize the information so the most important selling points are highlighted or somehow separated, so Glancers will pick those up and it'll help them make a decision to purchase from you. The two questions I always ask myself is, what does the buyer really need to know about what I'm selling, as well as images are obviously critically important. What do they need to see? What do they need to know? Mm-hmm. And then the flip side of that is, and I tend to be verbose because I'm a marketing person, so I figure everyone wants to hear everything I have to say. I'll go back through and go, who cares? And I'll chop things out that aren't important.
Excellent.
Don't want to hear yourself talk. Remember, glancers. Mm-hmm. Less is more. Just have the important information that's going to help make the sale. The other stuff just gets in the way of that and dilutes it, and ironically makes you less successful.
Excellent.
And then the policies. This is one of my pet areas. Don't forget your policies. The same facts in your policies can be written in many different ways. It doesn't mean that you don't need to have whatever your policies are. Great. But remember your brand personality, the brand promise you're trying to make as a business, and then try and have the policies communicate that same information, but in a way that supports that, as opposed to what so many, I call them sales prevention. You look at that and you go, holy heck, I'm not buying from this person.
Yeah, and we are running long, so I'll be quick, but policies can really wreck everything you've built up until now. And I know that a lot of eBay sellers have developed their policies over the years, and they've developed them in reaction to bad situations. In other words, a buyer took advantage of me by doing this, and so I'm going to put that in all my listings from now on so that nobody will ever do that again to me. I understand this, but it's counterproductive, folks, because not only are you scaring away that person who might do that bad thing to you again, you're scaring away about 20% more people who look at that and think, this is a horrible person, I'm not buying from them. Yeah. So don't use your policies as Chris referred to it as sales prevention. One of the best policies I've ever seen is one line. Don't like it, send it back. And we'll hurry now, I promise.
That's awesome. All right. So this just shows you a description, real simple, but just some simple branding can make a difference. How the information is organized. It looks more professional, greater intent to buy. This is policies in terms of how they're organized and communicated. Not necessarily exact words here, but you can see presented in a very professional way. We're actually almost done. We've only got a couple more slides. Let me just show one real quick thing here.
Please do.
In terms of how you can brand your listings, little product plug here, but this is our product called Billboards. And I'm just on the pagemates.com website, and we have something called a gallery. And I can move this panel here. With the gallery, we have kind of a little faux listing, if you will, and it shows you these are real customers. What Billboards does is it lets you create a unique, customized header and footer. So it's like a simplified template for your listings. And the header at the top, typically used for branding, to promote special offers. You can do links, cross-sell, link to your store. And then the footer goes at the bottom of the description area of your listing. And here you can see an example of policies. Well, I'm just go through a couple of these just to give you an example, or give you examples. You can see here, and these are just real customers of ours. Another seller using the billboards and how they use it to communicate information. And then one of my favorites, you can actually incorporate videos in this. So what this seller has done, Thomas Brother Cartoons, in the footer, they've actually incorporated a video of them creating a cartoon, which I think is just really cool, and it makes a real personal feel.
I love that.
That's what it can do. It's inside the eBay Apps Center. So it's on ebay.com in the App Center. And just how simple it is. You don't need to know coding, HTML, anything. we have what we call a designer. So this is my header. I can click on anything, and just like PowerPoint, I can change the text. I can, change formatting, font, and so on. It's all drag and drop, so I decide I want to add the logo to my header.
Chris, we want to vote. We want to vote on that new business name, 5-Finger Discount.
I know it's bad. It's actually 10-Finger Discount, because 5-Finger Discount is not available. But this is just a holding pattern until this weekend actually. I can drag and drop an image. You can have frames. It's just as easy as that to create your billboards. I can incorporate text. We have thousands of pieces of clip art that you can incorporate into your billboards. Shopping, various credit card logos, and so on. You can incorporate video. And I won't go on beyond that. It's really, really easy. It's drag and drop. So that's just one way. We actually had people ask about that. One way that you can incorporate branding into your listings, it's free. So you can use the product for free. The difference between free and we have a paid version is the paid version will automatically put the headers and footers into all of your listings, even if you have hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands.
And it's free and it's fast, so we like that. Okay,
yes.
So we're gonna.
That's it.
That's
Last
okay.
couple slides.
About me. You've got to use your About Me page. I know people sometimes don't even realize that you have this wonderful page on eBay. This is the one page on eBay that currently you can still use links outside of eBay. So you can actually put a link on this page to your Facebook page. You can put a link to your Pinterest page. You can put a link to whatever you want, as long as you're not right on that site selling other items. People do look at these About Me pages. I do as a buyer. I think maybe eBay sellers look at them more when they're buying, but it's definitely there. It's free to use, and it's a fantastic expansion of your brand, so use it. You can put customer testimonials. That cute little video that Chris showed us about them making the cartoon would be great on the About Me page. This is one of my friend Danny's About Me pages. Who wouldn't buy from her after looking at those kids? Okay? You'd look at this and say, oh, that's the automatic universal reaction. But this completely carries Danny's branding on. The cow thing, that's her. If you see that crazy upside down cow, that's Danny. And then the personal touch is there. So use your About Me page. It's one of the free tools eBay gives you. You definitely should use it. All right, Chris, we've done the brand audit. We've decided what we want it to be. We've figured out our personality and our colors and all that. Now what?
So the biggest thing, and the question I get asked at this point was, okay, this is a lot. You basically just need to prioritize. Start with the brand audit. Absolutely. Take a look. Look what you have. Look what your brand is today. Look where you determine what you need to develop, enhance, improve, and then prioritize that. And some people, and a lot of us, we're all concerned about cost. Most of this can be done without any cost whatsoever. And I tell people, start with your messaging. Start with how you communicate, because that's an easy thing to change, and it's such an important part of what your brand is. Start from your messaging, go from there, but prioritize. We've got, and do it. We've got actually, and Kat and I, when we send out the thank you to this, and we have a link to the webinar recording for those who weren't able to attend, we'll have a link to a branding checklist. A lot of people ask for this in previous times I've done this presentation. It's real simple, but what it does is it has you put dates down, and we'll have every single touch point that we can think of. It's going to be an Excel spreadsheet, so you can add to it, delete, customize it for your own use. It'll have you put dates next to everything. Because the toughest thing, time. We're all so busy, we don't have enough time. But put dates and really drive yourself to accomplish these elements by a certain date and get it done. I'm in that situation now with the branding that everyone just hated, but I'm still trying to find a name that I like. But I need to give myself a deadline, get that done, and then go through all my touch points and convert my branding.
You are in so much trouble. You are in so much trouble because you just put that out there in front of 400 plus people, and now we're all going to say, hey, Chris, how's that rebranding coming?
Which is actually fine. One other thing, I actually do what I call a success group. For my meetup, there's some other sellers, members of my meetup group who are awesome, and we'll email each other once a week and kind of poke and prod. And hey, Chris, have you taken the pictures of your wife's jewelry yet? Put those online.
Yeah, have
And
you?
so on. They help hold me accountable.
Okay, we will. And again, guys, I know we ran a little bit long. I promised you 45 minutes. We're right at 58. But Chris had some other really, really good slides in here about creating your brand awareness. Okay, now that we've done the rebranding, how do we get it out there? This is our brand. And they were really good content slides, but we just couldn't get them all in. So I got him to agree that he and I are going to put together an article in the newsletter coming out in about a week that will have all of those information that he had pulled together about brand awareness. So we will send out a newsletter with the link to the video and a link to the branding checklist we put together. And you're going to love that, by the way, because you can personalize it. You put your business name and your due dates and all of that in it. And then about a week later, we'll send out another newsletter. So again, back to you've got to be signed up for the newsletters. And you do that at topratedsellerwebinars.com. There's going to be a great article coming out with all of Chris's information about brand awareness. Okay?
Yeah, and I just, any questions that we have, Kat, to answer, but I really want to thank everybody. As Kat said and kind of joked at the beginning, I've been in marketing for a long time. I love marketing, but I love branding. It's really the foundation. Everything gets built on top of your branding. If you don't know how to talk about your business at a cocktail party, how can you create a Facebook page or a storefront? It all is built on branding, your brand promise, and it's so important.
Okay, and don't go away. I mean, we want to be respectful of your time, so we're going to wrap up the webinar. But we've got lots of questions. Karen's been collecting them, and I've been collecting them in the chat room. So we are going to close this down in case y'all have to go off to work. But we're going to continue the recording and go over all the Q&A as long as you guys want to stay. We'll be here. Okay? Again? Chris, we're staying, right? Chris is like, we're staying, really?
I'm here. No, I'm here.
Okay,
no, this is fun. I love this.
Are we had, I think we had one more slide, and then we can go back to the Q&A, right?
Oh, yes.
There we go. I was just waiting for my cue. All right, we got some great questions in the chat room. And the first one I wanted to talk, Karen, let's unmute Karen and get her in here. Karen, are you there?
I'm here. I was going to say, that's not my cue. That's not your cue. That's my cue.
Okay, well, the first question I remember was from Nikki, how to let our customers be aware of our branding.
Yeah, it was, how do we let customers know how to find us?
Chris?
So that gets into the brand. There's kind of two parts to that. There's the brand awareness and there's demand generation. So as a business, there's demand generation. It's how do you drive people to your business to buy your products? And there are many elements of that. Search engine optimization within the eBay marketplace, understanding a best match, how to get the best results and search results are part of that. You might do marketing for your business. Some sellers do search engine marketing. You might do some advertising. You might frequent social communities of the topic or the category of products that you sell. So it's all part of the demand generation driving business. And then to what Kat was alluding to, what I think of as more brand awareness, less of a sell per se, but just creating awareness of your business. Social media is a big part of that. The stats on how much time people in general spend on social media is staggering. The amount of retail transactions driven, interestingly, very highly from Pinterest, as well as Facebook, is staggering. So, having a presence within social media and creating general brand awareness is an important part of that also. But marketing is a whole other topic, but I think a topic that I hear sellers ask about all the time, and I think we should do another webinar on that too.
Definitely. They've got a lot of questions. Okay, Karen, what was the next one you had?
Okay. The next question was, where should I place my tagline? So,
Kat, I think answered this, but you literally need to look at each touch point. Many companies, when they have a logo, will marry their tagline with their logo. And so wherever the logo is visible, the tagline is visible. But again, you need to look at each touch point. Some are so small in form factor that a tagline is not going to make sense. It's not going to be very legible. It's going to be difficult, and don't put it in those places. But generally, it's married with a logo is the best place to put it.
And your business cards and your packing slip. And like Chris said, the little Twitter avatar, yeah, probably not. But, but other places. All right, Karen, what you got?
Okay, now here's the next question. And I was sidetracked for a minute, so you'll have to fill in with the rest of it. Can you refer to instructions on how to do that in our store?
Yeah, that's what I asked you, if you could find the link. You can hire someone for $100 up to $5,000 to redo your eBay store. Or you can do some fairly decent HTML tweaks on your own. eBay actually has some 3 or 4 templates that you can use, and if you know rudimentary HTML skills, you can change like colors and stuff and layouts, and you can make the store look really, really good. Karen, were you able to find any of those links in the eBay Help Center?
And I didn't see that you asked me to do that, so
okay.
I will go find it now.
Oh, that's okay. We can also post that. Karen put a link in the chat room, and we'll put a link into the Facebook group. And I'm making notes here that we really need to talk about eBay stores, because and there's a couple other questions in here. Where do you go to do your branding? You can go in if you're not comfortable messing up your eBay or messing with your homes page on your store and messing up. You got to be comfortable messing up. then you know you can just go hit the back button and fix it. But if you're not comfortable getting in there with that HTML stuff, you can still customize the header pretty easily. You can import your own artwork. You can import that logo. You can actually change the header around and put descriptions in it. You can put your custom pages up there. So the header on your eBay store is probably the first place I would encourage you to practice, mess up, play with the branding. Once you get your logo and you figure out your colors, start playing with that eBay store header and work on that, because it's really not that hard. But what Karen can find, we'll put here, and what we can find afterwards, I'll put a bunch of links up on the Facebook group. It's a Top Rated Seller Webinars group on Facebook, and eBay stores are, I mean, literally, I could teach a 4-hour class just on how to customize your eBay store, Chris, because there's so much in there that people don't even know about. How many of you have heard that there's still a My World page? Did you know that? There's still an eBay My World page out there. Google yourself. Google your eBay username and My World. There's the About Me page. There's 15 custom pages you can do on your eBay store. All of that contributes to your branding. And Chris, stop me, because I'm a big eBay stores nut.
No, I think it's a great point, and that goes to where we all need to prioritize. If there's this huge list of 30 different items to change or develop, it can be overwhelming. And speak to myself from personal experience, sometimes then I don't get to even 1 or 2. But if you prioritize, what are the most valuable, given the effort and time, things to do first, and get those done, and just make steps forward.
Excellent. And that branding checklist that we're putting together, Chris, will really help them with that, because it does. I've got to go through and add a few more things I thought of overnight, but it does have every single touch point for an eBay seller. And then you can say, okay, all of these have to be customized, but not all of them have to be done today. So it's got a place for you to put, this week I'm going to work on this. Next week, I'm going to work on that. So you're going to come up with the brand and the personality and the logo first. Then you're going to start implementing that across the touch points of your business, and slowly. And then, interestingly enough, by the time you get to the end of that branding checklist, my guess would be it's time to go back to the beginning and freshen things up.
Yep.
So eBay stores are amazingly adaptable. Question from Lauren was, can I go in and create my own header and then use Photoshop? You can't. I don't think you can go into the Billboards application. That was the context of her question. I don't think you can go into the Billboards application and use their builder to build it and then Photoshop it into your own header. But you can definitely build your own header in an HTML editor that you use, and you can cut and paste that into your eBay listings. That would be part of a template. So I don't know if that exactly answered the question, but that's what I had coming from her. You can't do that, can you, Chris? Go into the Billboards creator and then somehow grab the code for just the header and use it on your own?
No, not for the store listing.
Right.
And again, the billboards is for your actual listing itself.
Not for the
So
stores,
inside the
right.
description of your listing, not
So,
for the store.
yeah, she was
Although
asking
we've
about
had
that.
many, many requests for that.
Yeah. Okay, we have a bunch of questions about billboards, so I'll leave those for you. Karen, are you still there? Are you out looking for links?
Yep. No, I've been paying attention.
Okay.
We have two more questions that are not billboards,
Great.
and then the rest are billboards.
Great.
Tagline versus slogan, which is more important?
Great question from Jocelyn. Great question.
Boy, that's a good question.
Well, it's kind of two words for the same thing, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends on what your definition of a slogan is. To be honest, I haven't used slogans much, but again, I'm not sure they're all that different from what a tagline is. I've used taglines throughout the years.
Okay, I'm
So I
thinking
guess maybe some clarification of what you mean by a slogan.
yeah, I'm thinking that that the clarification, because to me maybe a slogan's a few more words, but I would think the slogan would be more like your elevator speech. That'd be like your elevator speech, your slogan, and then the rest of it would be a tagline, just a few words in there. Okay, Henry, great. Henry says that slogan is a lengthy tagline, so that's interesting. And it was Laura's question about the header, and what she wanted to know is if you could build a header for your store. Yes, Laura, you definitely can. You can go into the eBay store header customization. We'll try to find those links and put those on the Facebook group. But you can build your own header with HTML and put it in there, or you can just use one of the eBay header templates and just kind of change colors and things like that. You can definitely adapt and customize the header for your eBay store, not a problem. Slogan, a phrase that is paired with the company. Right. So I think Henry's definition is good, Jocelyn. A slogan is more of a lengthy, like more words, like more towards your elevator speech. Whereas a tagline is like 3 words. Mine for Kat's Closet, my tagline is customers count at Kat's. That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Kat's Boutique, where shopping makes a difference. That's just really simple little things. So not terribly creative, but that's me. So okay, Karen, what were your other non-billboards?
Okay, we had one more non-billboards question, and it was from Henry, and it was, what do you think about changing the name of an eBay store?
Ooh, good question.
That's a question I get asked a lot, and I actually changed the name of a public company. So spent a lot of money and time in this. It's going to be different for every person, every business, in terms of if it makes sense for you or not. The things I ask to take a look at is obviously, what is the name now? Is it something you feel is a positive? Probably not if you're thinking of changing it. Is it a neutral or is it a negative? What are you looking to change it to? What would the implications be in terms of awareness, your touch points that would have to change referring to it, links back associated with it, awareness, customers who know your store name and refer based on your store name. What would be the implications there? You kind of have to just put all these down. The way I look at it or think of it is put all these down on a piece of paper and really evaluate it. I also think you've got to look for the long term. Sometimes a little pain in the short term makes for much more gain in the long term. So you may think, oh, it's not. I don't want to do that. It's going to take time. But if you're really serious about your business and you want to do this for a period of time, then ultimately the pain in the short term can be worth it for the positives that you get from having a better name, maybe more reflective of what you're selling, more memorable, all the things that we talked about. So I don't know if that's a non-answer or not, but write everything down, look at all the factors, what the downside is of changing your name and so on, and ask somebody else too to help and get their perspective on it, and then make a decision. If you do it, then go for it.
Ding, 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 it depends.
Yeah, I get asked that a lot.
Okay, and Karen did find a great link for those of you who can't see it in the chat room. It's pages.ebay.com/storefronts www.building.html, and we'll also put that on the group.
And that's all about building your eBay store. It's like the whole section of it. I had to actually use the sitemap to find it. Okay, now, Chris, these are your billboards questions. What has been your experience with how billboards translates on mobile devices?
So what billboards does for mobile devices, those that support Flash, it's fine. Devices like iPad and iPhone, what it will do is it will serve up a JPEG of your header or your footer. So it should look fine.
Cool.
It should look fine.
Cool. So it translates that Flash or whatever it is into a JPEG. That's awesome.
Turns it into a JPEG, yes.
Great.
Cool. So now the next question is, what is the price of not free?
The price of not free, and I actually wasn't trying to hide that. I was getting ahead of my notes and I forgot. But basically, it's $4.99 a month for the version, and the couple abilities it gives you. One, again, is you just push a button, and it will automatically insert your billboards into all of your listings. You can do a header, a footer, or a header and a footer, whichever combination you want. Click the button. When you make a change, you just push the button, and it will essentially refresh and put the new header and or footer in your listings. It will also automatically put your header and footer into new listings that you create. And if you choose to unpublish, you just hit a button and you can unpublish if you want to do that. Plus, it will let you save 5 different versions, or what we call favorites. So you might have a header that you use heading into the holidays. You might have a header that you use into the summer. With the paid version, you can have 5 different versions and keep those to just select them and use them again. So paid is $4.99 a month.
Good, because Henry wanted to know if that was $499 or $4.99.
No,
so I assured him it was
$4.99.
Henry. Thank you.
Okay. And now another question is, do billboards mess up web searches finding you?
No.
Okay.
No. The text that you incorporate there will be searchable.
Okay, now here is, I think, and this is the last question. Can you use PageMate to do different page looks for different store categories?
No. So currently, billboards is the application. Again, it's the header and footer. You currently cannot put it, it's actually something we're working on, but you can't have different billboards for different store categories. So if you want to have one billboard on clothing that you sell and another billboard on electronics devices, you wouldn't be able to separate those currently. It will go across all your listings.
I do like hearing that you're working on it.
Yeah, you can with the free version, because it's an embed code you incorporate. You could put your billboards just into a certain category of items listed, but you're not going to be able to create a different billboard and then use that embed code in a different category. But it is something that's been requested on our roadmap for the future.
I like hearing that. I did see one more question that just came in from Darcy. Did I see that there's a Facebook like button in billboards? So I think she's asking if using billboards adds a Facebook like button to your listings?
No.
No. Okay.
Nope.
All right, that's already there. It should be up at the top, right, with the Facebook and the Pinterest and all the buttons eBay's letting us have now. Awesome.
Lots of buttons. Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? I think we're almost at the end.
Nope, that was it.
Awesome. Okay.
And I just want to say, Kat, you've got my email address on the slide, chris@pagemates.com. Please feel free to email me either questions about billboards or just about branding. I love branding. Again, through my meetup group, through our webinar series, love to try and support the seller community. So I'm happy to answer questions that you might have. As Kat said, we'll have in the next few days, we'll have an email out with a link to the recording, as well as a link to the brand checklist. And that too, if you get that, you use it. If there are ways you think we could improve it, for other sellers, we'd love to have suggestions and do new versions of it, because again, I love branding. I love marketing in general, but I love branding.
And again, the offer, if you want to go to the work of putting your branding audit into a PowerPoint and uploading that link to the Facebook group, we'll be happy to look at that for you.
And you'll have lots of eyes looking at it.
Yeah,
lots of hands. The Facebook group will give you a hand with it.
All right.
Which is really good, and that's the thing I hear a lot is, well, I don't have real marketing expertise. There are a lot of great people out there, and just a little bit of feedback, you'd be surprised how beneficial it can be.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks so much, everybody, and we'll see you through the newsletter, and we'll be back next month with another wonderful free webinar for eBay sellers. Have a great Thursday.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.